The notes that we take make up what we know, but the notes we pass make up who we are. Schools only have an interest in teaching students to know things, not to be something. Why do students pass notes at all?
Connection is why we're here. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives.
Because I mean, with the idea of mediated, we talk about how everything is a representation of something else.
Just handing someone my journal, but with like notes in the margin of like, here's how to read this. I feel like without this, like the notes, there is no story. Like, that's always how stories are. Like, the reason I'm sharing my story and the reason that you should even pay attention is going to be lost unless I guide you in a way. Yeah. And I feel like that's how all stories are, though, is that they're a guide, I guess. I don't know. But like, I don't know, I have no problem like looking at my life, not like, I don't know, from like a third person perspective, I guess. And like that. And I feel like in general, like my life is just layer upon layer of like self-reflection in some sort.
First goes with it. I wonder, you know, psychologically, if my whole struggle and my mental wrestling that's going on is just being over dramatized, because I know that I'm doing a documentary on this, and it's like a subconscious yet conscious inflation, I guess, of the struggle, the dramatization, the idea of being the method actor who wants to glorify their struggle so that it is something that's more easily watchable, I guess. Oh, this is tough. This is the multi-level thing. I'm understanding it. If I think, I don't want to think about what I'm thinking about too much, because then I'm afraid my thinking might shape what I'm thinking. Is that?
Exactly.
So while I am dramatizing it, I'm trying not to dramatize it because I want it to be organic and natural.
The use of words expressing something other than their literal intention. Now that is irony.
Has over 1 million articles, but still no entry for tonight's word. Wiki lobbying. Last year, I defined the concept.
Dangerous post-apocalyptic landscapes. But are these games doing enough to prepare our kids for the actual post-apocalyptic future we will all soon face?
Well, I think they are. Studies have shown that these games are quite...
In a world where everything is simulated, we of course respond by simulating ourselves.
And I've been very concerned about some of that, like we were just saying before, like am I being authentic? Like am I making this overly simple?
You want to keep the integrity of like what the story is and like that vulnerability, and you want to be that authentic person, but the whole act of it is very inauthentic.
And the last was they had connection, and this was the hard part, as a result of authenticity. They were willing to let go of who they thought they should be in order to be who they were, which is, you have to absolutely do that for connection.
Because I know, like, my story is very much like me basically saying, yeah, I bullshitted my way through the system, like, look at me. Because so many people want to save face and be like, oh no, I studied really hard and I did everything I could, but like, no you didn't.
Where our job, the definition of research is to control and predict, to study phenomenon for the explicit reason to control and predict. And now my mission to control and predict had turned up the answer that the way to live is with vulnerability and to stop controlling and predicting.
Does that mean it's less authentic? And then I've gone on this journey from authentic learning to less authentic learning because my desire and my vigor for the class kind of ran out. Because I turned the paper in knowing I could have spent like a good solid 1 or 2 more hours on research, and it had been so much better. There were things while I was writing that I was like, oh, I need to go back and ask that question and research that. And I was like, I'll just kind of skip over it or ignore it.
I think of, life in general as sort of a performance, right? So, I mean, everywhere that we go, everything that we do, we have to always consider the audience, even when we're writing papers and doing homework, like who's our audience is one of the things that we have to think about. And
we perfect, most dangerously, our children. Our job is to look and say, you know what? You're imperfect and you're wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. That's our job. Show me a generation of kids raised like that, and we'll end the problems I think that we see today.